So this is a talk about the media. So we'll talk about Donald Trump, but we'll try to have some fun with it. On Monday, at a rally, the Republican nominee for President of the United States invited the followers in his crowd to scream at the press pool, at the media, which they did for 2 full minutes, because they hate the media. On Wednesday, after Clinton's emails were leaked, Trump said that the dishonest media didn't give them enough coverage, even though they were covered everywhere. And I'm an advocate of the fluidity of language, but when you're talking about information and journalists, incredible means not credible. But then it got worse on Thursday after sexual assault allegations, when he said that it was all a conspiracy of the media. He verbally attacked the women who came forward. And there's no recourse for validating his claims when people have no trust in anything that is considered the media. And Donald Trump knows this. He operates by assassinating character, by ruining reputations, and he's attempting to do that now by supplanting trust in an entire system of vetting. So as a member of the media, in the traditional sense of the word, I'm a journalist, I'm a writer and senior editor with The Atlantic magazine, I see my job as being an independent source for truth in a world where many messages are coming from people with financial and political interests. My job is to be apart from that, to create accountability and transparency, to promote honesty and integrity. And yet, here's a poll of things that people like, done last month. People love Canada, which is great, but they don't like the news media. Put another way, among the only things that people dislike more than the news media is Vladimir Putin. And with dislike, though, comes distrust. And as of September 2016, according to Pew, more Americans distrust the media right now than ever before, by a lot. And I don't mean wholeheartedly trust every word of the nightly news, but have even a fair amount of trust in the media. And perhaps not surprisingly, it is especially marked in discrepancy among Republicans. Only 33% as of last year had even a fair amount of trust in the media. And as of last month, that dropped to 14%. It's truly a unique time in our history. The theme of the day is gaps, and these numbers represent an enormous gap. It's a gap in understanding, a gap between a system and the people that system exists to serve. And it has fed a gap in political ideologies that's also wider than it's been in decades. Here we are in 1994, 99, 2004, 2011, and today. And if that gap persists, if history tells us anything, then society deteriorates accordingly. So my TED idea is we should stop this. And I have one smaller specific thing to recommend as far as ideas in which we can actually, I think all of us can do a little bit better. The press. So the press used to be easy to identify. It was people who had access to a literal press. That was the medium, the media of the time. And sometimes there was good reason to distrust the people who controlled those presses. Many of them did have specific missions to promote certain ideologies. Not among them was The Atlantic. In 1857, we were founded. 1862, published Battle Hymn of the Republic. Our specific mission from the outset has been to be of no party or clique. That remains central and extremely important to us today. The media on the whole, though, today is certainly not limited to people who own printing presses, nor is it limited to people doing journalism. People do acts of journalism all the time without formally identifying as the media, and I'd argue that most of you are now part of it, not just by what you write, but what you share, and what you send and what you post becomes the message that other people receive. So my TED idea is that we stop saying the media. Not just in a derogatory way, or in an analytical way, or in an adulatory way, but stop altogether, because you can't accurately talk about the media any more than you can talk about the politicians or the sports. Do you guys like the sports? I watch them sometimes. And this isn't just a semantic quibble, because the concept of the media is being used to draw people away from facts and truth. So Trump didn't pay his taxes, you can't trust the media. Hillary Clinton doesn't want to repeal the Second Amendment, you can't trust the media. And Trump depicts this as a crusade. We're taking on big media, and it is not pleasant. I have never, ever in my life received stories like I receive now. But I'm doing it for everybody. I'm doing it for you. I'm altering my voice, but it's not an impression. My man, Rush Limbaugh, this is from his website. I'm going to take this over to the art theory people for analysis later, but it's fair to say he's on a crusade as well. Why shouldn't conservative Republicans have immense distrust in the media? Because it isn't media. It's just an extension of the radical left. The Democrat Party is all it is. And then maybe my favorite, Sean Hannity. My overpaid friends in the media, well, they have their chauffeur-driven limousines, as opposed to people who drive their own limousines. They like their fine steakhouses and their expensive wine lifestyles. None of them are feeling this. The people you're watching on TV, and therein lies the contempt. Of course, Hannity is on TV. He's one of the people on TV. His salary last year was $26 million. The average reporter makes $36,360. But this outsider ethos is how Fox News built its fan base, and by any traditional understanding of the media, Fox News is the largest purveyor of media. They are the very outlet that encourages people not to trust the media. And you know that what they're doing is not journalism based on the longtime motto, fair and balanced, which is itself extremely misleading. Fairness is the crux of journalism. It's what you look for in a good journalist. Balance, though, is a huge part of the problem of why people distrust media, is misunderstanding balance. So, for an example, lead poisoning in Flint, Michigan. That was widely depicted as a quite negative event. You did not hear balanced stories with some people saying that no public officials should be held accountable, that there was a positive spin on this. Simply bad across the board. Not balanced, but entirely accurate. There are people who believe that the moon landing was fake, and they don't get a lot of attention in the press. But you could say that we're being imbalanced by not giving them a voice. It's not a media conspiracy. Climate change. Being balanced would mean giving climate change deniers and scientists an equal footing in a story. So at what point can you say, look, our greenhouse gases are warming the planet and melting glaciers and raising sea levels, and you're not accused of media bias? Fairness, on the other hand, means that saying climate change deniers are not ugly. You don't say that, even if they are. So what is the media? If Rush Limbaugh and Sean Hannity and Ann Coulter and Bill O'Reilly are not the media, then what is? Is it defined by the identity of the author, the creator? Do you need to be a full-time employer of a media company, or is anyone who writes an occasional article or book part of the media? Is it defined by the publisher? What even is a media company anymore, as everybody is making content for the internet? Traditional journalistic establishments have transformed from print into websites largely, and now they're moving on to platforms where everyone else is going too: YouTube, Medium, Facebook. In those same places, news is being broken by non-journalists, and journalists post non-journalistic personal things, and commentators post things that are supposed to look like journalism but aren't, and everybody else is in those exact same places alongside journalists. More and more people write things that appear online anywhere, even if only on Tumblr or Twitter. Social platforms have billions of users, and posts by non-journalists spread all over every day, and it culminates with the bacon-wrapped grilled cheese sandwich, which has 104 million views on Facebook. That's more people than watch the Beatles on Sullivan. And the Beatles were bigger than Jesus. So the grilled cheese sandwich the new media, the platforms, are in some ways the new religion. The First Amendment established the freedom of press. As the printing press died, in many ways, the idea of the press dies, but the mediums have been democratized. There's no monolithic establishment that defines the media. It's in our interest to stop saying it. If there is the media, it's a system perpetuated by people who follow journalistic ethics, people who are fair, people who are trustworthy, people who do not slander, who are not beholden to any particular interest, but seek transparency, to highlight injustice, and to hold people in power accountable. Journalism is a profession defined by a code of ethics that can be adopted by anyone. Just think of all the police violence that's come to light because people carry cameras in their pockets now. Free press is a system designed to keep people in power in check. And no one is more in power than our government, than our elected officials, than our people seeking public office. Elected officials shouldn't be allowed to limit free press or to supplant trust in that system, and it's a dangerous precedent to allow them to do that. Power goes unchecked or abused, corruption is unexposed, and character is unvetted. So if we stop enabling conspiracy theories, by stopping referring to the media as a monolithic establishment at all, we could begin to make some progress at slowing the divide, minding the gap. So don't speak of the media unless you speak of a system where journalists convey truth. And if you do, to say that you distrust it is to say you distrust transparency. I think that this system is our hope for reuniting a fractured society. And if there's anyone you categorically should not trust, it's people who say that you should not trust the media. Stop saying the media. I realize I've said it 36 times in the course of these 10 minutes, but I'm done now. Thank you.